Good morning! Today I warmed up by making a low poly wizard. A commenter asked it of me, and I must oblige because every one of my viewers is noble, powerful, and other adjectives besides. While it takes shape, I'll tell you about wizards and try my hardest to avoid thinking about PS1 Hagrid. I start with the head. I usually do. It's the place where people's eyes go to first. And if you're just box modelling, it's quite an easy place to extrude from. I'll be honest, I was sleepy when I started. A lot of what I did was autopilot behaviour. The design is a bit confused, and we'll bring that up later. Oh boy, will we. But speaking of confusion, the word wizard didn't used to mean sorcerer at all. In Middle English, wizard meant wise man. It comes from wiz, which is the same root as wise, and the suffix ard, which worked as an intensifier. It implied a trait, not just a circumstance. Think of the difference between drunk and drunkard. Anyone can be drunk, but a drunkard embodies the behaviour. It's part of who they are. So yes, wizard, literally wise ard, a learned fellow. Only later on did it pick up all the magical stuff. At this point, I'd blocked out our wizard. He had a hat, a beard, and was ready to texture. Unfortunately, to foreshadow further, I did ignore the flashing red warning sign that read, "Weak silhouette, spend more time improving your model." And yes, that is a real sign. I have it connected to my brainstem via Bluetooth. But I was a fool. I was tricked by the trappings of wizardry, hat, beard, etc. I read that the archetypal wizard look owes a lot to depictions of philosophers, especially Greek ones like Socrates and Plato. They're often shown with long beards and robes. So over time it became a sort of shorthand for wisdom, and that got rolled into the whole wizardy look. I'm not sure how much stock to put in this. It has the taste of a Just So story. It makes a loose kind of sense, and it's fun to think about. Like those pyramid videos that pop up at 3 a.m. I'm not sure how seriously to, well, I'm pretty sure how seriously to take the pyramid videos, but I'm not sure how seriously to interpret the philosopher to wizard aesthetic pipeline. I'm guessing is my guess. I'm assuming the aesthetic is much broader and more muddled. There's almost certainly influence from the East with the magi, and also just from monks, you know, who often wore robes and had beards and possessed arcane knowledge like how to read and where the nearest Greg's was. So while it's a nice idea, I'm not fully buying it. After texturing, I pulled it back into Blender. I also added the witch I made last week for comparison, and my tiny heart broke. Because boy, that witch is a lot better. The shapes are bolder, better defined, the design is more cohesive, there's more personality and interest on display. You ever look at two things you've made and it feels like a different person made each one? Honestly, with the witch I had a very clear idea, and with the wizard I was just waggling vertices until it looked about right. And by about right, I will admit I mean half-arsing it all the way. But it wouldn't be the Cool Dom channel without desperate, half-thought-through repairs to bad ideas. So can we salvage it? Maybe. The first thing I did was balloon his head. Wizards need big heads for all the thinking they do. For my money, that might be the best thing I've ever written. Immediately, this helped sell the look. We left our standard proportions behind and entered something more cartoony. Then I took inspiration from my research and made him look more like the philosophy students I knew. I changed his eyes to look tired and defeated. This gave us more expression and pushed us away from the boring defaults. I then plumped his ears and nose. The shapes weren't bad, they just lacked any sort of confidence. I also played with making his beard longer, but I liked the crescent shape it made with the hat, so I kept it how it was. And there we have it. This morning I made a wizard, and I learned a little about what they are and where they came from, and I went on a very long tangent about etymology, which I'm sure shed most of the viewers. It's going to be a great day. I was tricked by the trappings of wizards.